It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, also known as Sharae Del Talaya. I'm still working on that, but anyway. And this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas and have wonderful guests. And everybody knows my wonderful guest today is Jenny Lee. And tonight we're going to journey into the frozen vault at the bottom of the world, Antarctica. Beneath the ice lies more than science is willing to tell us. Ancient rivers, hidden lakes, strange anomalies, and secrets that are guarded by treaties that all the country's leaders know about, but they don't tell the people about. I'm honored to welcome Jenny, a seeker of truth and light, to help us ask the question, what is really going on there? Let me bring Jenny on. Hi, Jenny.
Hey, how are
How
you?
doing? Doing good. I've had a frustrating day. I'll have to tell you that. And I got to shut my door here too. So hang on a second. Come on, Jenny. Go in here. It was giving me a hard time getting things together to get the show up. But anyway, one of those fun days, you know. So
Yeah.
anyway, what really lies beneath Antarctica?
A lot of treasures.
All right. You
A
had
lot of
information.
treasures.
You had information about this quite some time ago, right?
Right. Everybody's sending me information on it now because it's shown itself several times of energy above our Earth in this red novelty thing. And then they said water would, has a power with this red substance, and then the value of it, and then when it goes airborne into a fog presence. So there's 3 levels with this, and I did the drawing, I don't know, 3 years ago, and people have been sending me it this week because it's showing up again. They're showing how it looks and how it's close to what I was saying about how bloody red it is and what it's for and all that stuff. So, and they're talking about how it's coming from deep
Why is it
within.
red? Do you have any idea?
They're deep because it comes deep within our planet.
Is that like rust?
So,
Core?
so scientists is putting iron. It's all iron and all this stuff, but not the way that water is running, how red it is. And then it seems like any type of major event that happens, you see red in streams and red in oceans, and stuff. That's like it's a sign of the times that are changing. And so yeah, I mean, I went in for this information because I had a person that was talking about the Pleiadians and to go look at this. And when I did go up there and have a conversation and deal with this process, they said, well, you don't need to worry about this, but I want you to look at this red stuff that's in Antarctica and how it's going to surface and how the value of it is going to be worth and how it can be airborne as it changes frequencies. So
the color, the whatever we're seeing that's red is going to go airborne. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because it shows it can be in the water. It can be a substance in the water.
Wow.
Okay. And then as it changes, there's a filter process they're showing me. And then if it was a certain degrees, they're showing me it's a value. So I'm wondering how that happens. And then as the airborne process is a sign, an energy. So And this is the thing, this is one of the predictions that I did. I was like, I don't want to put this out there because this is in a red river, red river, in Antarctica. But then it showed up. Then it showed up. And then it showed up with the name that they said and Ruby. And then, of course, when we started digging up all the information on it, Google Maps blacked some of those rivers out and what it led to and all that stuff. So now it's surfacing in a different way.
Well, it's interesting because in terms of where things are at, because I remember that Vision 21 said the way that they have everything laid out isn't the way. We don't really know where everything is, even though we think we do. I mean, what they're showing us is an overlay that isn't real.
Yeah.
I mean, the technology that they have is far beyond what most of us are even have a clue about. And it's amazing what they can do, but they can do it.
But this was always an important part. And then this is the thing that was really weird. They were specific about this going over Arizona. Oh. Very specific. And I was like, is this connected to the Grand Canyon? And all this. So it's going to be interesting. This lays out. With
that very well could be, because we have a whole bunch of artifacts in an area in the Grand Canyon that they won't let anybody go in. And then in the Sedona area, I've heard a lot of things about the figures that they have that are in stone were at one time were actually live beings that were, when the parasites took over, they were slaughtered. And the reason the red rocks are red is blood. So I'm hoping.
Well, they're talking about, what's the Himalayan? Was it Himalayan salt? They think that those are actually giants, the flesh and the blood of the giants. Or I've heard so many stories on that too, and petrified giants. And then when they're slicing some of these.
The giants, or Titans were giants too. So I don't know if there's if there's two different kinds of giants. I don't know. We're just finding out so many new and different things. It's absolutely amazing. But anyway,
right. So the whole thing with this is, how this is showing up at this time. I'm thinking, okay, this is a chess piece that's sliding into this process, because they showed the skies being, the pink was Pacific on the end of everything. It comes to a humble point of understanding that we can be humble about us being at a point that we can celebrate, and the calm after the storm. And then the red was about an intense color of enlightenment and knowledge, and that it would form over our world. So it's going to be interesting on how this plays out.
Oh, yeah, it sure will. That and many other things.
So if you want to show the picture, you put that in there. Did you
want me to show a picture? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that one you showed earlier.
Okay, let me see if I can get a hold of it now. Oh, it's in here. Let me open this up. Oh, yeah, there it is. I have to show it in my... okay, well, I'm just going to have to show it there. It's in my email, but that's okay. Okay. Share screen.
So that's what it's looking like now after it's constantly flowing, and then
let me move it. I can move it down. Then we have.
So that's what's going on with it right now. But if you look at the way it forms, and it's copying the exact picture. See, that's a little off on color, but it's if you look at more details on the internet, it shows you.
Well, yeah, this one for some reason on the other actual picture, isn't it? It's a darker red than what it's looking
Right.
like in here. I don't know why that happened, but and this is your drawing, isn't it?
Yes, that's the drawing.
And you did that, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about putting this stuff out because I was like, there's just no way this could happen. But,
okay.
So
those are the only 2 pictures I got into my email. So
yeah, that's it. That's all it is. But the point is of all these things showing up right now, you know, it's almost like setting the stage for all this bigger event to happen. And that's what's going on.
Yeah, but what I understand, that's going to be a rather scary process.
It is.
And which is why I had a show earlier today. And if you haven't seen it, I would appreciate it if y'all would watch it too. And it's called Fear's Last Stand. Because they're going to try to get everybody in the emotion of fear.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they
that's the only thing they have left to play, though, on this. I know. And I think this is the thing. That's the last thing because they need a distraction right now of what's going on in the world, because things are slowly collapsing and they're taking control of certain areas, you know, and, you know, you got Washington, New York. I mean, it's all going to come down and there's going to be more cities and stuff like that. And the distraction of still trying to spin the negative side on everything, you know.
It's just going to become so obvious to people that don't see how they can miss it. And
right. So like I said, the what we need to be focusing on is you got what they want you to focus on, and then you want to look at the outside of everything else. So with Washington, I'm saying they're focusing on that area, but you need to be watching on the outskirts of Washington, what they're doing, what's happening at 2 a.m, what's being created at 2 a.m. That's what you need to be paying attention. Same thing with New York, how that's all going to form together too. The biggest thing I'm going to tell you, we need to start looking out for those shovels. Those are shovels that shovel bodies up, and that's all they do. They just pick it up. And that tells you all that process of the NPCs is coming to an end, because it's going to take forever to pick all that up.
Oh, wow.
New York was the example, though. That is going to be bearing the witness in that city of seeing that.
Wow. Yeah, people are in for a lot of highly emotional stuff that they're going to put out there.
And that's the thing. I mean, you're going to see a clear view of all these programs finally in front of you, of how many are out there and what they're precisely supposed to do, what they were brought in to do. And so what's that? How's that going to trigger people? Because they're going to look around at everybody and go, are they even human? Which ones are the organic systems, the NPCs, clone systems? You know what I'm saying? This is just opens everything. Everything. Yeah, and Antarctica is melting, and you're going to see these clear pyramids there. There's white, and it looks like there's a titanium netting around the pyramids that they show. Spirit showed you that a long time ago, too.
Wow. Okay. Let me see what else we got here. If anybody else has any questions. I have, how do lakes like Vostok stay liquid under kilometers of ice? What might they teach us about life in extreme environments? I mean, how does that happen? How does that work? How can
because this is the thing that people have to understand. There are other worlds that were right under our feet that were cohabitating, and you didn't even know they were there. You didn't even know that they were existing. And now, like as Trump has told you, keep an eye on the water. So all that eventually, as things come together, as our world has no wars like it's supposed to be before we can go into the golden age. So things are going to resurface as they were before before we were here, before our grandparents were here. So that stuff is going to surface, and this is what I said: islands will disappear, and others will appear somewhere else. And that's the whole process. There will be cracks within the ocean that will open up, and then water just completely evaporates, and you don't know where it's going to go.
Now you just said something that reminded me of something that I read someplace. There was and I don't know if it's true or not, but anyway, they said that the ocean floor flipped over. Like it, I mean, I don't know how they could tell.
Because I've always said that this world is like a Rubik's Cube. These plates were shifting, and I drew a picture on that too. Just having the volcanoes, and then you had the ice underneath, and then you had these structures that were underneath, like a puzzle, and everything's flipping now. And so we're going back to that process again. And that's why you're seeing all this stuff that they're discovering everywhere in the world that's coming to the surface. It's because they hid it for so long.
They hid everything on us. There was so much they didn't want us to know about, because they were basically hijacking the planet and our minds at the same time.
Well, and this is the thing, we have to call them out for what's underneath Jerusalem. The whole process of that, of just clumping a bunch of churches on top of a bunch of land, because they could not remove what was under the land. It was too heavy. They didn't have the technology to do that. And so, and then, like I said, how they, you go back to biblical time on everything, and they talked about the angels that were the fallen, that were chained down within our earth. We know where those are at, because we've heard the noise, the sound. I think was it Iran that they are in? I forgot. Or is it
well, there's a Stargate in Iran, I know that.
But no, it's oh gosh, you guys know. I can't think of that.
It'll come to you.
It'll come to me. But anyway, but it's known in the Bible. So that ain't the only thing that's tied down there. So, and then there was different types of beings that were of the light that they had down there too, because if it was released, they wouldn't be able to control. So there's a lot of things that have to surface. So it's like a museum, and everything's contained and controlled. And then there are pure, good, healing rivers underneath the Holy Lands. So how do you cover something up with all those years of all that stuff? You throw a bunch of dirt up, and then you put churches on, and you make sure they're all fighting among each other to keep the focus off what's really going on that land.
And they probably use some kind of tech or whatever they have to keep the energy that might be rising from it or emitting that would be healing, so that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and you keep the religions fighting and focusing on fighting only on the process, which was the opposite of
You're going to go to hell if you don't believe my religion.
Wanted in the first place. So that's the distraction. That's the whole thing. No matter what you do, you're condemned. If you do it right, you're still condemned. It's just a no-win situation with religion. There's never a good, positive way of getting out of it, because when they came in, and Jesus, Yeshua, taught to go within, and then man had to come over and control everything to contain us, and that's the whole thing that changed. And so now all these discoveries are happening. So let's talk about, the Holy Land when that's discovered. Let's talk the Vatican. The Vatican is going to be just as bad when they open up everything from there and they show it in the public. That Vatican needs to be tore down. As much stuff has happened.
How about hit with the rods of God?
Jeez.
Such an evil place.
Horrid. So underneath there, The Devil's Bible was created. No one talks about that. So, I mean, there's so much history that needs to be surfaced now.
Yeah,
And
because
you're
all
going
the
to
history
see
they
it.
gave, all the history they gave us was a bunch of bogus baloney.
Mm-hmm.
You want to address this question, Jenny? Why can't DJT or White Hats stop this crap of the left? LEGT. Left. I think you meant left. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess not a miracle worker, but go ahead.
So everything, this is the thing. To occupy society right now, there's checklists being done. So how do you keep people focused on one thing or another? You guys, you know that the progressive left 5 or 6 years ago was pretty progressive. I mean, I remember fighting every damn hour with them, and now it's different. So what you're seeing now is just layers of a show. They have control of everything. Everything. And I mean, you look around, where is your resistance of fighting? Except what you see on TV, or you have to actually have someone go and do journalism and actually see it for yourselves, because you don't really know what you're seeing. So that's the whole process. You can't tell the difference between reality and truth because we have to be in front of it ourselves. So it depends on what you're looking at. It really depends on what you're focused on. And that's the thing about this. So all this is happening, but is it really happening the way that we think it is? Is it occupying us why the checklist is getting done at 2 a.m?
Wow.
So the left is weak. Well, the left doesn't have any more money. We sold their companies. We took their assets. We took their paintings. They don't have anything left. They have no more money. We froze their bank accounts. And if they were watching what exactly Trump did, everything, any portion of crimes against humanity, everything is frozen. So you have to ask yourself, from 3 years ago, you're not seeing what you think you're seeing anymore because they don't have the money. And these kids do not get off their ass unless they get paid to do something. So, I mean, how come, which we know, all Trump would have to do is say, man up. One word and it'd be over. Because his own army would stand up. And it's there, it's waiting. They don't need to. That's the whole thing about this. We don't need to, because it's not what you think it's really going on is happening. And so
it's a movie.
It's a movie, but it's a weak movie.
Yeah, it sure is.
We would like more, honestly, people would like more confrontation. We'd like to see more of a one portion of something really going at each other, because we want to witness it, right? But nothing. It's all smooth. It's all done with no war, nothing going on. And all you're seeing, unless you get someone there, and that's why they started in with this TikTok, because they didn't want real footage of things. So,
yeah, that's for sure. That might be too real.
Yeah.
Somebody's just asking too right now, is the school thing just another distraction? You heard about that, didn't you?
Yes, that's another distraction.
The 2 kids and 17 injuries. Oh, isn't that interesting?
Right. So I would be, again, looking for him on an actors list again. Because, again, I want to see real journalism. This is the thing when something really happens in the past. You would see ambulance. You would see everybody rushing. Go back to the Oklahoma bombing. That was real, okay? You see the dust in the air. You would see ambulance there. You would see a lot. You're not seeing that anymore when there's an event like this. Everybody's in clean clothes, and they're all snazzed up, and they don't have any issues. And that's why I didn't buy this whole thing that happened in North Carolina. And they showed all these kids that were rescued. I'm like, they would be soaked. Their clothes would be tore off them going down a river. They would be drenched in dirt. They would have scars and bruises on their face. Bullshit on that one.
Oh, that's
So-
what it's on most of them, if not all of them.
Right. So there's
really-
massive confusion going on because that's not reality when something like that happens. And how they're saying some were were discovered and some weren't, cleaning out parts of those tunneled areas, and then some of those bodies floating up were not what people think they were. So that's the whole thing. Authentic, real journalism. It's gone. Just saying.
Okay. Let's see. Chris Enders. It says, "Let Jenny speak." I think I am. That really irritates me when people come in and say stuff like that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't let it bother me, but it's just rude and it's low vibration. So anyway, the best thing to do is to step away from the movie and go within.
Even the Vietnam War, I want you guys, do you want the truth? Go back to the past on some things. Go back to these wars that we had and how we actually had to film everything. Okay, this is all done through a green studio screen in the back. Okay, you have to look at reality, what would really happen, and this is what we have to say. Hey, this is not the real deal here, and people just assume. And that's the thing with me. I mean, whenever they go under Jerusalem, I mean, I would have to know someone that was underneath there doing it because I want to see the real pictures of this, not fake pictures. And it's not going to look like anything that you've ever seen before because the material that they have down there, the books that they have, the scrolls that they have, it's just another level of information. So it's going to be interesting when all that gets to surface, just like Antarctica, the Tartarians, all of what they have down there, all the, I'd say the agreement that they all signed so they can enslave us and not let us pass where we should have been able to pass and make our own choice. So this is the thing. And that's why, Antarctica is one of those big areas that I'm determined to go there. That's the one thing that I'm like, I got to see that for myself from the ground up and see everything that's going on there because that has been hidden for too long. And the passageways that were there and the actual tropical areas that are there on the other side of the ice.
And we think it's all ice and frozen, and there's actually tropical areas within.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know anything about this one here? I have a picture of a giant. They are laying all over the Swiss Alps. All over the Swiss Alps?
So, of course, these are not live ones, but at that time, because they're allowing to view those instead of hide everything. Everybody's looking at landscape different, and they're also looking at the fact that these trees were massive trees, were huge trees. Yeah. And
like miles high trees.
Everything was covered up on this whole process. And this makes you go, when you look at all this, guys, and they had the healing pods, and I'm talking about the streams and that were tied into each kingdom a long time ago. And now when that actually surfaced, to the point that getting into a healing pod, because the spirit gets annoyed, you call them med beds, and it has nothing to do with beds. It's a healing pod. So when that actually happens, and then people understand the process when you get to the conscience of how quick that your body can change and develop and heal, that's a whole different bracket. this is what society's got to do, is got to be really pissed off about all this technology and all this advancement. We could have been so much further in the future, but
Oh
the
my God,
enslavement of the system held us down.
big time.
Hmm.
Wait till people find out.
Well, I don't even know if some of them will even react. That's the problem. They're so programmed. Even when they start to see this, and that's the whole process of this.
There's a whole lot more NPCs than we would like to believe.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's the big part of it, I think. Somebody else was mentioning about the number 17 in that little scenario. They kind of did that, and it kind of went kind of quickly. It was because it was another something bogus, but anyway. Thank you, Don Stewart. There's meaning behind that name. Anyway, let's see.
So I want to talk about the one thing I've been getting lately is, the whole process of Leviathan. Now, that's what you need to pay attention to, because it's one of the biblical stories, and I think it's one of the real true stories about that, and that's something I've been focusing on too. And I know there's been hints here and there about the oceans being cleared out, and they don't know what's going on, and so that's one of those stories you should look up and read about that information, because that was at a time that's going to come that it has to be confronted, and how that is such a beast that it's not something that you can just annihilate in the way that man thinks it can. It's one of those challenges that we have to go through. So, reading the story on the Leviathan would be something you want to pay attention to.
Do you think there are portals and stargates in Antarctica?
A lot.
That's why they don't want anybody to go there. And that's why all the countries have treaties, because they all talk to terrestrials there.
Well, that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of it.
Let me see. Well, here's a question for you. Jenny, do you think the Alexander Library is the Vatican?
I do, because if you're going to contain the knowledge, you're going to contain all the knowledge, and that's all they wanted to do, was contain it and keep it. So yes. And this is the thing too. These books are not in the English format either. I mean, how, we're going to go back to scrolls on this process. The biblical term, scrolls has the information, all that stuff, and how they're going to make this public. How are they going to implement it to the public, to give them the knowledge and all this stuff? So how are we going to start this in education for kids? Because they have to re-educate kids and tell them the truth about the true history, and get rid of all those cabal books that they have in the school systems. And that's the thing. You have to go back from story to story. You have to retrain the brain to listen to the truth and search for the truth on many levels of things. So all that stuff has to surface, and that's one hell of a job to do. That's they hid so much.
Well, here's another question for you. I haven't read it all yet. What's up with the article today? Vietnam giving every citizen in their country 100,000 dong by September 2nd, 2025, equivalent to $3.10. Are you serious? That can't be right. 100,000. I don't know their currency rate or anything, so I can't. Do you? Are you?
Well, I would think if that's going back to things, I would go back to the money that we are gifted from King David. So I think that they might have the numbers wrong on that. So you're going to find out, because the people are going to react, and they're going to tell you if they got their funding. But I already said, everybody thinks the United States is the first one that's going to go. And I already said a long time ago, if there's another country that's going to go first, and then there's a tumble effect to the United States that's going to happen. So, yeah.
Here's another one. Your thoughts on the 31/Atlas?
I don't know what that is. You'll have to explain that one.
Yeah, you got to give us more information on that. I don't have a clue either. Okay. Let's see. Somebody said horse hockey. That's one of Drake's famous.
So one of the things I want to talk about in the future, and this is what I've been working on a process right now, is manifestation. Manifestation is in a process of our thinking and going in a direction, and we're as technology is changing, how advancement is changing, how we're going to be educated in a specific way. So manifestation is going to happen more often, and things that you need to manifest and go into a direction that's going to happen faster. That's gonna be a big thing in a year and a half. I'm just telling you, it's gonna flip in a different way, and I feel it, I sense it, I'm getting downloads on it, because the thought process, once we stop with the reality that we think 3D is in control of everything, and then your conscience is looking for the truth on that, and you're going to go within. And this is the whole process of this, is manifestation in directions. And that's why it's always at the moment that you see and view the direction and trust it and watch a timeline that comes in with that. But what they're talking about also is the manifestation and then coming into the physical. So I'm getting a lot of information on that stuff. And that seems very hard for people, a normal conscience to even concept right now. But I'm getting a lot of enlightenment on that stuff.
Do you see anything occurring on the Virginia Peninsula?
Water. Water.
Oh, here's another one. Let's see. What will healthcare benefits be transitioned during RV for families, especially the children's health? And I suppose we should ask about any more on the med beds. Everybody always wants.
Well, the technology. So the whole thing, military has it mapped out on a precise area where everything goes at the precise time, and on those. Okay, you're not going to be able to sign up. Okay, there's no sign up. There's no one that's going to ask you for money or any of that information. There's no civilian. I'm going to say this over. There is no civilian that has access to these devices. They do not have the clearance. They do not have the training, and they do not have the knowledge. So, as I said, I've said it over and over, and once the military brings them to the surface and shows you how you're supposed to access them, all those smoking cigarette, sitting on the front porch saying that they have access to them, it's not there. They'll disappear like a thief in the night.
Because that's what they are. No.
Yes. Military is the only way. They are not going to trust a civilian to have access to these. They're going to be well-guarded facilities. Period. Forget it.
Well, most
so they will
there
contact you. They already know your condition, and they will tell you that you can't say nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Here, this is interesting. Here, Jenny, do Antarctica, Jenny, but drop into Australia on the way. I'll pay for the trip.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Antarctica is one of those places. Antarctica is great, but Australia, I believe that there are pyramids in those areas too, and they're not seeing them the right way. I believe it's out there too. So it'll be interesting how that land starts to show itself or surface? I'm wondering.
They
What's in that
bury
bottom?
everything.
Everything.
Or somehow, or put buildings on top of it, or
Mhm.
dams on top of it, or unbelievable. Some of the
Right.
things that they have done. And right under our nose, and just like you said, people right under our feet. Let's see. Yeah, here, this is true. Somebody's making a statement. There's only about 15% fire creation. The rest are fillers, NPCs, and even 10%, 15% is a reach. Can you imagine how many people that is that are going to just disappear?
See, and this is the thing. You guys answer your own question on this. Anything you look at people these days, there's not this interaction anymore it used to have when we were with our grandparents and all that stuff. Everybody was kind, everybody was open, everybody conversated, everybody was polite. These people, you go to these stores, you do anything, there's just this zombie process. There's no empathy. They don't reach out to anybody. They don't care. They're in their own agenda. If you look at the human behavior, that is not right on this process. I mean, so I think that's going to be the biggest thing to accept. That's going to be in a shock process. I mean, some of us are just expecting it. And this changes. I'm gonna say this in the way that women are complaining, and they're all non-vax. They haven't gotten shot. But I mean, and the vax and the non-vax will not date each other. They're like, I'm not doing it. I don't care. And because there's a different conscience level going up and down on that stuff. But you're seeing people that are vaxxed to the kills, and there's just nothing there in the eyes anymore. They're just checked out. And that's part of that whole, I think it goes up to the brainstem, and then everything changes. And when you get to a certain level, it's just, they're checked out. And this is the thing, there's nothing we can do about it. You can't reverse this. You can't change this. It is up to the soul that made a free will choice. And there's nothing you can do. So we're at the brink of seeing the reality of the percentage of what is human, what is NPC, what is organic, what is a clone,
what is a mask?
The Frankenstein show is coming.
It sure is.
Yeah.
There was a question here. I just lost it. I wanted to. This goes back to this other question. I still don't understand it, though. Maybe you do. 3I Atlas, a planet, a comet, or a ship? 3I Atlas. I don't know. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, Atlantis. I know because I've seen that.
Maybe,
planets, current, and then comet. So the comet, the only thing I go back to is the star. They talked about the golden age, which is the new star that's coming. I mean, the planet's flipping, so Atlantis is going to surface again, which they already know where it's at. So, what has been below will surface to the top again. So all the things she's saying are going to present. I mean, okay, everybody wants to talk about, all this blue beam effect of this process of saying all these ships are coming and they're all negative and they're all this is going to happen. Okay, blue beam. Okay, you could walk outside and where the ship's supposed to be, and your hand's going to go right through it because there isn't one.
CGI, eh?
I mean, the first one out there going, oh yeah, let's watch this because I don't care.
Look at her, my hand goes right through it.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, yeah. So, all this process is to put fear. Why? Why do they want to put fear? Why? Because they don't want you to tell the difference between a real ship and a fake one. You know what I'm saying? So they got to create an illusion before the real ones get here. The real process gets here. So that's what they're doing. They're creating an illusion, so you're already going to be in fear when everything changes.
And you can't be in fear. You have to stay out of fear. You have to stay calm. Walk through the fire. How many times have we said that, Jenny?
Well, look
Stay
at it this
calm.
way. You can't do any worse. You already had Joe Biden, diaper man. I mean, come on. What planet is going to be worse than this? I'm sorry. We already been through hell on that. That was that was a chalkboard syndrome for a whole 4 years of just watching that.
I couldn't handle it. Yeah.
Oh, God.
It was hard. Let's see. Somebody said, I heard long ago that Australia, Mexico, Canada, and U.S. are all going to be one. Yes or no?
Region.
Yes. Also,
one region
was one of the buildings to be destroyed. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The rods of
the rods of God are supposed to destroy quite a few buildings, as a matter of fact, and that's going to be part of the scare event that, people, if you don't have a clue what's going on, it is going to scare you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's only part of it. Anyway, let's see. Here's another question. Martial law will be in effect across the United States. How long will it last?
Where you get resistance, you will have problems. And where you don't, you will not have problems. So society is going to either guide and follow the military law, or where you have resistance, which we know are the 17 cities, and they're expecting that. So I'm just telling you, it's going to be smoother than you think. So how long? I've already said 3 days.
Okay, so when will the Antarctic ice melt?
I think it's already in the process.
Okay.
And they showed where you saw you have the ice wall water, and then you have the other side of the water, and they're actually different waters, even the tides and everything else too. And they talk about, the water underneath Antarctica, how, there's a water underneath a water. And how does that happen? How could that happen? I think there was a guy, because he went down and explored all that, and they ended up dead because he showed that. Also, I mean, this whole process of this is people, they're risking their lives to know the truth about Antarctica now. They're like, we're tired of being lied about it. So people are going to take risk to get their asses over there and say, you're not going to stop us anymore. We're going to get in this area, and we're going to find out what's really going on.
We're also going to find out, we've been dealing with a lot of traitors. I even heard Admiral Byrd was a traitor. I don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard.
I think he went over there, and he was one of the ones that went through the whole canal of that. And then, that was a big story on that one. So I'm not sure. I'd have to go do some more research on it and see what it says.
Same here. Do you know what the 31 Atlas really is?
No.
I know. I don't either. So, okay. Here's somebody answering, I think. There is no Atlas entering our atmosphere. It's a cabal ploy to instill fear. Don't fall for the BS.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
And there's going to be so much BS out there. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever you do, don't listen to the news. And social media can be really bad, too. I was getting some nasty stuff on my Facebook page. And I know Facebook is going to go down. YouTube's going to go. Most of them are going to go down at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one at a time.
So with all this, I'd say the artifacts surfacing, people are just going to be in this numbness stage of just accepting this. And then, and this is, like I said, the elders are going to have the hardest time with all this information, with all this process, because they're in their 70s and their 80s, and they never thought that this is going to happen. They've been enslaved for such a long time in this process, and those ones I really feel bad for, because they're going to be like, I don't want to be here. I can't relearn this. I don't want to know that I was lied to my whole life. I mean, some of them can take it, some of them cannot. I mean, that alone to educate the elders is going to have to be in a process that they can understand and have patience. I just think it's coming, and it's frustrating because people are not talking about how they can adapt to this information and live a different way.
And are very entrained to watch and rely on the TV for their information, which is really bad. Canada, dumbs and dumb. A lot of questions about Canada. Do you have any insight on Canada?
Again, they're hiding stuff in the woods that they don't want them in there. And I'm like, all I need is one risky person to go out there in the middle of the night and take a camera and see what's really going on. They don't fine you that much unless something is there they do not want you to see. You might as well treat it like Area 51 right now.
Yeah, they said you can't go hiking.
That's what I'm saying. They're hiding something there.
Big time. Do you know what cities in Canada will be shut down?
All of them. That is all of it's bad in Canada. Alberta is your closest one that's not even close to not doing it, but I'm just telling you, yeah, it's all of them.
Yeah, it says
that brainwashing on over there is just completely at a different level. I mean, and the control that they had and what they did and everything like that. I hope the farmers lead this in the wake up stage of that process. I hope the elders and the old stubborn asses over there wake up in a different way and start leading, because I think that would be great. So, I mean, there's a different phase of waking up in Canada, and they're just not there yet. They're so programmed.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's about the Canadians right there. I think you've already answered this question, but I'll put it up again. How will the waiting list for the med beds be filtered?
They already know you. They already know you're sick. They already know what you have. So when you get the phone call and they tell you where you need to be and to keep your mouth, and you're going to be seeing military people, not civilians.
And children and veterans will go first, if that's what you meant.
Mm-hmm.
I see it. Okay, I mean, they already have known as 15-minute C40 smart and resilient cities lists been out for a decade in Canada. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, Canada's got a ways to go then, I guess.
Mm-hmm. They all need to pull their balls out of the purses, okay? we need. I'm just saying. They need to lead. They need a bunch of Vikings in Canada right now. I'm telling you.
Wow. What about the children? The things that have been going on, is that going to come out? I believe that's what she's asking about.
So, are they in Canada or in the United States or the worldwide?
I'm going to guess worldwide, but I don't know if she wants to.
So this is the thing. And I was asking Chad about this the other day, because this is what upsets me. The veil of that understanding when you focus on presenting it. And I'm telling you, you present it to the truthers or the ones that are supposed to have the podcast and all that. Their whole concept is it shifts. Okay? That's not normal. Okay? To not look at that and have compassion about that. That's a program that's been put in so in depth into your soul that you're numbified from it. Okay? So this is the thing. Those, to come out of that stage of that reality, there is not going to be a soft way of presenting it to the public. That has to be presented raw, because it has to impact the soul in such a pure way of reality to hit the soul. It's not affecting people on a slow level. It's not working. It's not, the visualizing is just, let me just turn the page. They have to be able to only see what is the reality, not turn the channel, not change the subject. That's got to be in their face. So this is where I said, you're going to need the puke buckets, because what they're doing to your children
gives me goosebumps.
And that's the whole process of this, that I'm disgusted with the truther community, because
never talk about it.
They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to ring any damn bell for the kids. They want to focus on what's happening in the news. Okay, well, this is a number one priority, is the children that are trafficked, the children that are in cages, the children that suffered, the children that were disformed, the children that were in labs and they created anything they want. And let's talk about this.
Organ harvesting.
Yeah, the females, that they cut their arms and their legs off, so it's more convenient for them to do what they've done to them. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the incest and all. They did everything, but no one wants to face it. No one wants to look at it. Well, you chose this. The truther community chose it to deny it too. Well, it's going to hit you in your face, because you denied it. You denied talking about it. You denied looking at the reality of that. Your heart and soul should have made that a priority. So yeah, I'm mad at the Jacobs. I'm mad at the Ishmaels. I'm mad at the ones that had the big platform. All of them, because they're just going on about their day and their heart is not on this. So yeah, I'm pissed at you for not focusing on what's the priority. What is this world all about? If we cannot save our children, there's nothing left to save.
That's absolutely right, Jenny. Tell it. It's absolutely right.
That's what I'm. So you see it every day, and you think they're going to get to a point of it, that this is going to be priority. This is going to be top news. Guess what? It's not. It's not. And that's what it's hard for me to look at and respect people when they just blow it off. They blow it off. They don't care. And you look at LA, it's behind doors. It's underground. We don't have to look at it. We don't have to say anything about it. Your heart knows what's going on. How does that sit? Not good.
Denial. That's where they say ignorance is bliss. Well, it's not. They're not going to be able to remain ignorant, because when the EBS comes out and you can only get one channel, you're going to see it whether you like it or not. And it would have been a lot easier if you had been at least somewhat mentally prepared.
Right.
By taking it more serious.
That's the whole thing. Okay, if you want to go to reality in churches are even denying. They don't want to talk about these subjects. They don't want to bring this up. They don't want to go deep into it. How are you serving humanity? Deny the fruits of my people. Deny the fruits of my people. Joel Osteen denied the fruits of his people that were at his door knocking. Just saying. So, that's the whole thing. I mean, what happened to empathy, sympathy? I mean, the children were the one thing we were supposed to save and preserve. And we just let it happen. And no one cares. And they just want to move on. How do you sleep at night?
Exactly. Because the people that know can't sleep. Anyway.
I can't.
What are the red waterfalls showing up? Why? What is that all about? Do you know?
That was exactly what we started with.
I know. I could bring it back up, I guess.
Yeah, you can show the picture again. I already drew the picture and went into. It's a reactivation stage that is connected to the Palladians that protected from this Earth, and that you will see the red within the skies and in the water, and it is of value when it comes to a certain process. So it's coming. You're going to see more of it.
I'm trying to figure out why it's focusing on Arizona. I know there's a high level of corruption there, but there is all over the place. So I don't know what makes that much difference, except
Okay, well, I want you to
the
look
Egyptian.
at that. I want you to look at that, though. I'll tell you what.
Egypt.
And this is how they compared it. Is look at the sand there. It's red.
The red rocks.
And I was like, okay. And I'm like, okay.
Desert graveyards.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a big part of it. Many beings were killed, annihilated, slaughtered when the parasites took over. It's horrible. I've been seeing a lot of missing children on people posting it on Facebook lately.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because their supply is gone. Putin took away their supply. So this is the thing. And what happens? They're used to having that. And so the thing is, you have to watch because you got these minions are taking risk because it's coming to the surface where it was in the ground, and now it's on the surface, and they have their desperation, and they're going to pay a lot because they can't access it no more. So you really need to be watching your children in a different way, because they want to get a hold of it, and they have no supply for it no more.
So watch your children very closely. What's this one here? When other countries coming together and protesting against the dark, will that happen in the U.S.?
Yes.
I hope so. It's just that people have been too complacent, And
William Putin says, he goes, those Western people are the most sick. What they do to their kids, everything. It sickened Putin of how the West was, and he's the one that told you what was going on from the get-go on things, and no one believed that. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. You might as well buy a puke bucket because you're going to need it for a couple of days. And all this reality comes up, and then the guilt sets in to these ones that wanted to deny everything.
Somebody's asking, do you think will September be shut down or New Age begin?
We get to a point, I don't think we can go into winter like this at all. So I think they have a window of opportunity that's hitting, and it might be the last day in August to going into September. I can't get it to October in that way. I get it in a process that we're already starting into programs.
Yep.
But I don't see us going through a winter at all like this.
Okay. Are we still due to go into stasis state?
We're already started. We already started it. It's already been started. It's already at a divide of where we're going. That's already started.
Okay. Looking at missing homeless and ICE movements now, seeing who's turning up in uniforms and vans. Get my drift?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I have some questions of my own here.
Mm-hmm.
There are some anomalies beneath the ice.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And
there is.
And radio waves tell us about Antarctica's hidden secrets or the physics beneath the ice.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't our physics just like everything else that we taught? It's wrong.
Right.
Sometimes I'm glad I didn't
Those
study.
under, I like the ley lines, the pyramids, the temples, everything was to bring frequency into this planet. And that's the whole thing. Bringing that back online, that's what's happening with all the stuff. We're, reestablishing a power source that hasn't been used in a long time. And to bring that back online is not easy. And everything is reacting what's going on in the world right now. Can't deny it.
As I understand it, there's layer upon layer of control mechanisms that have been put in place over the years that has to break down, and it's not just one thing; it's a whole bunch of things.
Right.
So, what do you think million-year-old ice cores reveal about Earth's atmosphere and human history? Do you have anything on?
What are you looking at? What was the question again? I'm not reading it.
The million-year-old ice cores reveal. What do they reveal about Earth's atmosphere and human history? That you're
Probably that we breathe a lot better. Nutrients were a
oxygen.
lot better. Right. So we were more flourished. We're not poisoned back then, I'd say.
By our air, our water, and our food.
Right, exactly. Everything was pure and good, right?
We're like the Energizer bunnies. We just take a licking and keep on ticking. It's very amazing the insults that humanity has been put through, and they still keep going. Of course, look at even in Bible times, which I don't have a whole lot of respect for the stories there, but they used to live. Aren't there a few people that were hundreds of years old?
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore.
And that's the whole thing. And I'm going to laugh about this, Gail, because I have friends that are our age, or your age, my age, and they're like, "Well, I want to get on the med beds and get everything fixed, and then I want to have more kids." I'm like, "Yeah, you're damn mind." Okay, I'm done.
Go for it.
More power to you. Go ahead. But what I'm saying? I'm like, and that's fine with them. That's their fruit. They want to go down there in that path, and I'm just like, oh, nope. I think I'm good. And so the age progression med beds. Everybody's waiting for that one, and then being young again, starting over again. They're like we just get to flip everything. We get to start over, or with the person we want to be with. We everything starts over. I'm like, yeah, and it's great in that way, because we were not supposed to be tied down to a contract in the first place on this earth. And so being sovereignty and making our own choice was always what was supposed to be. So I think we're going into a world of free will, literally.
Yeah, we didn't
You're not forced in a situation. You're there for the right reason.
Priscilla is saying that Truth Seeker, for your information, Truth Seekers 88 and the Patriot Party News on YouTube both covered the children in depth with pictures. Sick, 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 sick. You can't unsee it.
Well, you need to go over and watch it and then share it with your relatives because they need to see it.
It'll help the shock level. Because that's just one part of everything that they're going to find out. I mean, oh my God, it's just endless. Okay, and then somebody said that this doesn't surprise me either. They're paying women to abort their full-term babies to give this to the synagogue of Satan for satanic ritual abuse. That's just so sick. I don't see how anybody could do that. It would have to be an NPC, I guess. I don't know. If that's even possible. And
yeah, that's sick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. You're not the only one. It pisses Mary. It pisses me off too, so much to see people are complacent about saving the children. What are they thinking? They're not thinking. That's the whole problem. They just don't, the few people that I even ventured to mention it, they just don't believe it. They don't believe, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, that ain't really, you know. And if it is, it's just a few sick weirdos, like Jeffrey Dahmer or something
Until
like
it's their own child is affected, and then they're pro.
Yeah.
That's the whole sad thing is this has to happen to a certain level of your own reality, and it has to be affected by someone in your family, and then that changes. But the whole thing, it's just numbified and no compassion for someone else's child. And some were born in this, conceived in this. They know no difference of this type of process.
Yeah. Is Jaco and Perez being handled? You no?
I don't know. I don't even want to. I'm just discussing with both of them because I figured they would both focus on what is important right now, and they're not.
Okay. And most Christians only care about the money.
Yeah.
That's the problem with a lot of the so-called truthers. They only care about the money and how many people watch. I mean, you don't want to do a show and not have anybody watch it, but at the same time, if the money's the motivator, you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Well, and that's the thing, and I talked to Gail, and I don't even think you are either. So I don't. YouTube has a process for marketing and all that stuff, and I have denied it. I've denied being a part of that. I've denied it across the board. That's why you're not either. Neither am I. You, yeah, I didn't think so, and that's what they want that check from YouTube every month, and I'm just like, this isn't about that.
I've never gotten a check from YouTube. In fact, I think people would be amazed at what I live on and keep doing this anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
I have insomnia at times, knowing the truth. You're not alone. It's like, we want it to.
As I go in that process, we go, flooded again, flooded again, flooded again. You seen that Jesus where he's like, flooded again, flooded again.
Flooded again. Yeah, that one picture, you see that? Yeah, that was hilarious. Here's a question for you, Miss Jenny. Is Earth residents keep update against dark elite frequency weapons? Because some of my illness has been cured and often have lucid dreams, more seeing spark of light.
Yeah, they've took control of those devices.
The energy is going up. There's
yes,
definitely is, and it's opening people up more and more, and it's going to continue to do so.
Yeah.
I'm actually starting to remember my dreams, and I never did before. Not very much, just little bits and pieces, but I'm just not having. I don't know. I always felt blocked, and probably was. I mean, they block different people for different reasons in different areas. Because they know your soul when you come in.
Yeah. So I think I have a chance. I have a couple more questions and gotta get some things done.
Somebody was asking me about the change my name. I not formally. I'm just using a name that is basically my mission name, and it comes from the light web. And a lot of deep research and recall as a result. So that's why I put it out there. And names have frequency, and that name has a very high frequency, and that's why I added it. Okay. Lots of the hidden things in Arizona. Yeah, a lot. There are. I can vouch for that one. Let me see this one here. The gal is speaking of a thing in the solar system. NASA says it is a rock. Others say it's a ship with mechanical problems. They mostly agree not on it. I don't believe anything NASA says.
Okay, NASA is shit. Is a
Thank you.
crap shit. You know, and anybody right now even says that name or even asks, like, have you go back and look at their videos? Okay. I mean, it gets so ridiculous. There's flies in space, you know that too, right? And there's socks that, you know, and then there's little cameramans underneath everything. I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, so anything that comes out of their mouth is shit.
Yeah, they
So,
lie. They lie through their teeth every time they
oh,
talk.
that's all. They got paid to lie.
Yeah.
They got paid.
Yeah, this is true. We are here in this time for God's purpose, and anyone with a soul has a purpose, and you need to try to know what yours is, so you can fulfill your agreement. I mean, most souls that came here are pretty awesome warriors of some sort. It's just sometimes people just can't wake up because the programming's been too strong, too heavy, whatever.
Exactly. So I think in the weeks that you want to, I mean, this week I'm paying attention what happened in Washington and New York, what they're starting to assemble, and what they're guarding and what they're not allowing people to access. You got to be paying attention to that because, and I think at some point what's going to happen is there's going to be an example of the modern cities that are going to come in. You know, there's going to show modern technology, modern way of living, all this stuff. And I honestly believe when they start to really help North Carolina, and I think they're going to establish new communities that show the higher technology, how we're going to live in a different way. So I think that's coming.
Somebody, Forever Unlimited, said, and I just wanted to put that up there. If I've been trying to grab kids in broad daylight lately, and young women in a parking lot, be careful as well. They put money on the ground near your car, and when you grab it or bend over, then they try to they get you, or they get your kids. So, oh gosh, be so careful with kids now.
Right.
It just makes me so sad to see those missing kids and thinking and knowing what I know. It's just very upsetting. So,
yes.
Okay, I don't know. We're getting close to time to wrap it up. So if anybody's got any last minute questions, I'm scrolling through. And Jenny, if you have anything else that you want to.
No, it's just I want people to focus on corporations as in lockouts, and then the judges as I told you, they're going to get locked out. They're going to go to work and they're like, you cannot serve here no more. I'm just telling you, I saw something today on that. They have to implement that. So the new laws. So paying attention to these corporations that are going to get locked out. So that's why I want you to pay attention to Washington and pay attention to New York, because there's going to be a trickle effect that's going to happen nationwide on this process. Something big is coming, and it's going to hit the courts.
Alrighty. Well, Antarctica may be cloaked in ice, but truth cannot stay buried forever.
Right, exactly.
As the shadows crack and light will rise, whether beneath the glaciers, within the halls of power, or in our own awakening. Thank you, Jenny, for walking with this mystery tonight. And good idea. We forgot last time. Oh my gosh, where's my bell? Well, go ahead and ring yours. Oh, here it is. Ring the bell for the children. You got a better bell than me. Mine is really light. All right, everybody. I am Sharee Talaya, And this is Mystical Sage Inquiry. Truth grenades wrapped in light, detonating delusion and igniting your soul grid. That's my new line.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much, Jenny. And
Stay in the light.
everyone who has come, and stay in the light, just like Jenny said. And raise your light as high as you can.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our